And it's not trying about doing the right thing now. It's doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's because we must do it as a responsible business. It's not about being an early adopter now. It's about get on the bandwagon because it's the right thing to do. Don't get left behind. Sustainability costing more money, that's just a mindset really. But it needs to be fun, and we try and get as creative as possible. We want to do it now. We want to become a more sustainable business. And now we want to do it. We enjoy doing it. How can we become more sustainable? We have a Green Finger initiative in terms of trying to bring the guests on board to our sustainability journey.
The biggest accomplishment which we have at Avani since I started the business is not the financials and so on. For me, is the change that we made. For me, lots of times, yes, we're gonna do, but if I don't have to, why would I do it? Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our IAMNOTPLASTIC podcast series. This is a new initiative where we're starting right now in the first edition, where we're gonna discuss and we're gonna share opinions, and we're gonna share experiences as to what we have done so far in terms of sustainability and how we can all us, along with some great mind and thinkers in the city and large operators, and we can contribute to making UAE a more sustainable place and drive the agenda for change. And what a better person to start with, no other than Mr. Mark Lee, the GM of Media One Hotel, one of our great partners with whom we work closely for the past 5 years. And then what better partner to start our series with other than an entity in the city, one of our first adopters of sustainable products, which is Mr. Mark Lee, the GM of Media One Hotel. So Mark, welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for the introduction, Peter. Pleasure to be here on the first podcast.
Amazing. So the idea of our podcast was obviously to highlight not only our partnership, but I think to share with the world and to entice others to share the best practice and what some of the achievements which we had, so is always a dilemma when you want to switch because of cost, because of other things. Why change what it works? But we admire the fact that Media One Hotel has a role on this part of being one of the most sustainable, at the forefront of sustainability and adopting this as a business model. And and then ever since, I think we gain a lot of support from you because from endorsements that you did, and we're always proud to say that yes, we're doing so and so business with Media One Hotels, and the range of products that you adopted covers, I think, most of the parts of the operation. So you can tell us more about it. And then also one highlight I want to do here and to give praise is thank you for having us at your Sustainability Day. And it was great to meet the frontline colleagues there and then to see how aware they were, and then again further and highlight our partnership.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we've known each other. I was thinking about it just earlier. We've known each other for about 10 years now. And we first met on a little trip to see the Champions League final. Exactly. And back in the day, the world was not such a sustainable place. And it was more of, we didn't really understand about sustainability. And I think over the last 10 years, that mindset's really changed. If I look at our journey at Media One and what we've done, I think we started a little bit to become a little bit more aware from a sustainability perspective in 2018, 2019. And then the world came to a stop for a couple of years. In 2020 and 2021, we were thinking about other things. But in the summer of 21, I said to the team, no more pandemic. Let's put our sustainable hat back on again. And what can we do to get back on track from our sustainable mission? And since that time, I think it's something. The whole culture around sustainability has changed, and certainly within our organisation. And it's not trying about doing the right thing now. It's doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's because we must do it as a responsible business. And obviously the initiatives have really taken on from there. So from the summer of 21, we've started to ramp up our sustainability initiatives. We started a sustainability committee, which we've been running now on a monthly basis. And you very kindly guest starred and came down and addressed the committee, I think it was about a year ago. And that helps again to get the message across on all the great partners that we work with, for that to cascade down through the organisation, because there's no point a few leaders saying, yeah, we're sustainable. It's got to then come down through the organisation, come down through all the team, and be part of our DNA and our culture. And that's really how we've moved on from there.
Amazing. Well, you see, likewise, I have to conquer what you say, because for me, lots of times, yes, we're gonna do, but and when you start a business like we did in 2017 and 2018, the status quo was, why, if there is no legislation, if there is nothing, if I don't have to, why would I do it? You know, so for me, it was great. It was great to have you on board that time, and then I can see that the team always explore whenever a new product comes. They want to be at the forefront with, and then likewise we committed that any good practice, best practice we have, anything new we discover, and I will highlight a couple of examples. For example, when we started sending the straws to a few of the hotels, in one of the hotels, I give them a box of straws, 10,000 straws is in a box. And 3 days later, Peter, we need straws. And I said, what did you do with the straws? You know, and then coincidentally, they were doing a big iftars, and that was Ramadan time. And then, you know, I went there at iftar time, and I see every iftar drink had a straw inside. Sahlab, jahlab, soft drinks. And I said, wow, well, that's not the way that we want you guys to use our products. So I think let's use them responsibly. So why don't you ask the guest prompt if you need a straw? And by doing so, immediately they reduce the straw consumption by 40%. Virgin Megastore is another. I will mention the name now here because we had a great partnership. They were also your tenants. And then with them, when we replaced the plastic bag in the shop for 1 dirham, they reduce the consumption by 60%. So why I highlight these two examples is just simply because from a business perspective, yes, the prices of these goods or our sustainable goods are more than the conventional plastic goods which have been there. But as the volumes grow, as technology advances, we close the gap, one. But the biggest gap that we closed was the sustainability gap. So carbon footprint, we reduce the consumption.
That's the key
in this item. So anything, I mean, coffee cup lids. We ask the question, hey, do you want? But even a coffee cup, if you sit in front of a team and you tell them, hey, this cup is made from sustainably sourced wood and paper, and then, you know, you can recycle it at the end. By being so much more aware, the colleagues there in the operation, they handle it with more care, so they waste less. So automatically leads to a reduction in consumption. You know, so these are just a couple of examples that we had, but also we evolve. We also had to learn so many things, sometimes the hard way, as to, for example, the bags. The reason why we localized production here is because we had 12 to 14 weeks production time, and lots of times we had to rely on shipping lanes, you know, so we passed through COVID, we passed through Suez Canal blockage, and so many. We are a logistics hubs here.
Need to write a book, Peter.
Correct. But you see, for example, instead to ship bags, we shipped container loads of raw materials, and we make the bags here. And by doing so, we reduce the consumption by 15%. But more importantly, the client didn't have to wait 12 to 14 weeks.
Wait time and the carbon footprint.
Exactly. So. And we also learn from the clients. Lots of times the clients say, oh, this bag is too big for us. This bag is so for us. So we have to go the other way around to say, okay, so what can we do to make these bags more sustainable? To that extent, now that when we meet the client, first of all, we ask for the purpose of the products, and then we go into see how we tailor-make that product. And you know, because in all fairness, the less material you use or resources, the more sustainable you are. Correct?
You've hit on a couple of really key points. I mean, first of all, congratulations, because you were the early adopter to start off your company when arguably using sustainable products was not the done thing to do. You've taken a huge risk, so congratulations on that, and started that journey really early. You've made some really good points on the straws. So we actually have a no straw policy. For straws on request. So not only are we not using plastic, but we're reducing consumption of arguably an item that you don't need. And we'll be surprised, like your Ramadan example of when you ask the guest if they want. If you put a straw in a drink, they'll use it, but do they need it? If you ask the guest, do they really need a straw? So it's a two-prong attack. No plastic, but reducing the overall consumption there. And it's that learning process always, as you said. And each time, hopefully, with age, we get a little bit smarter and a little bit wiser. But it's not, as I said, it's not just you and your company, it's you and how you get that message down through your organisation. And in my case, the same at Media One. And what we try to do now is to embrace it with our office tower community. So we have lots of office space. We mentioned one of the previous tenants, which was Virgin, but we've got probably anywhere between 600, 700, 800 people coming to work every day to Media One in our office tower. And we've brought them in as part of our sustainable family. We've had a number of the companies, there's an engineering company that's come on and addressed our sustainability committee as well. So really getting them on board. We've arranged for the segregation of rubbish bins on each of the floors. So it's, again, before it was nice to do. Now it's the right thing to do, and it's that mindset and that culture about not using plastic, about using biodegradable products, about being a lot more sustainable, and it's ingrained in the culture and the DNA. So,
but it's great that you mentioned this, because I see that with no disrespect to local authorities, there was great efforts for them to move to a more sustainable our industry, FMCG, sustainable goods packaging. But thanks to private sector, we had so much advancement. Sometimes, when I talk we have partners in Europe now and other parts of the world. Saudi is just across the border, and then so we are really true number one in terms of that. Because the private sector set the trend in terms of hospitality. So one of our partners is Avani Indonesia, for example, and then thanks to us, they got into so many other clients because we are being in this part of the world, and because we, along with the clients, with our partners, we implemented, and we show so many success stories that then the corporate office of so-and-so hotel came to say, oh, we have the hotel in Bali, and then we knock the door and say, guys, here is it, we introduce you to this guy. So, and that's how it moved. But throughout COVID, it was very hard, and I'm proud to say that for everyone, not only we understood all the clients, and we thought at some point that because of so much takeaway and so much packaging was used into operations, we saw that we're gonna thrive and so on. We're gonna thrive. We're gonna help and support. Okay, but the client said that they had to go back to some of the conventional products. Some of the businesses they closed, unfortunately. But I'm proud to say that out of our back then it was just over 300 clients, maybe 2 or 3 they were no longer our clients. So soon as the economical environment improved, and then we went over immediately, as of July and August, the clients came back to us, and that told me a couple of things. First of all, was the fact that we had a strong relation, and we did whatever we did right with them. Okay, and second thing is not always about the money. I mean, yes, I understand the cash flow is a big issue and so on, but it was for everyone. And then we supported in whichever way we could, whoever, in the smallest quantity possible for everyone. So just to try to help each other. And then here it's about communities, about how everybody helps each other. And that's why I think our business succeeded, is because of that, all right? But because also we try to do it ethically, all right? So for me, I could have stayed back on the side and say, use as many straws as possible, no problem. But we try to say, hey, don't automatically offer.
No, and the hospitality community is really strong. Everybody clubbed together during some very difficult times. You mentioned a little bit about the authorities there, and I'm very pleased to say that the authorities, there's the Dubai Green Key initiative. So we are one of, I think, 3 or 4% of hotels who've got the Green Key certification at Media One. But the other one is the Dubai Sustainable Tourism. And that's another initiative now that the authorities are starting to put in place. Due to a technical glitch We weren't in the first round that got announced earlier this year, but we've now. I was emailing a very helpful Arabic lady called Talid this morning, because we believe that we've solved the glitch and we've uploaded all of our data into their system. But it's now becoming part of the sustainability club. You want to be part of that club. You want to be in there with the others. And it's not about being an early adopter now. It's about get on the bandwagon, because it's the right thing to do. Don't get left behind. And our corporate companies, our corporate partners now, when we do the RFP processes, what's your sustainability pledge? What's your mission? What are you doing? How much are you saving? What's your carbon footprint, and how you're reducing that year on year? So it's now becoming ingrained not only in hospitality, in society, which is brilliant.
Well, it's great to mention, because again, I remember 5-6 years ago I had a friend who had run is the CEO of a big construction company, 10,000 workers, and then in his 167-page share business, the review, the yearly report that he needs to give to the board, I don't have much sustainable, we can do it. And then we started to as little as bags, so every worker gets 2 bags with food a day. 5-6 days a week, 2 is 12 bags. So we give them our cassava bag, they use it.
Fantastic.
And then whoever loses, they pay a small fee, all right, which goes towards a team building, a sustainable. It's for fun. It's not that they get harsh penalties at that level. But it was interesting to see, even at that level, how the guys, they became very conscious and very, responsible. Okay. And then another example, which I must add, because in your building is also, you have lots of tenants in there. We see organizations that they give better commercial terms.
Yes.
The greener you operate, the better commercial terms you get. So I think that's another angle that I think this community has thrived and is thriving now, into those. And that's another way to incentivize people to become more.
And it's all the right ways to do it. I mean, the bottles that we've got down here, this is a partnership that we did with Grohe, which is another one of our tenants. And Grohe is a company that deals with mixers. And we have a water dispense unit in our office tower, which dispenses complimentary still and sparkling water. And these are the bottles that we produced. Amazing. And it's the Dubai Can Initiative. And these are the bottles that was launched, I think it was just over a year ago now. Another nice example of completely cutting out single-use plastic from our business. But what products, what sort of the research and development are you working on now from your perspective, and what can, in 3, 4, 5, 6 months' time, what can Joshi, our procurement manager, expect to be knocking on his door to say, have you thought of this or have you thought of that?
Well, I think Joshi is on our top 10 favorite procurement partners. So it's a dialogue that we have, So a lot of times, I mean, there was the inquiry, for example, for wrapping film. So we tested, we brought, there is home compostable wrapping film, but then we trialed that in few operations with mixed results. So that I'm happy to say that in the next couple of months we will have a solution for food wrapping film, which is home compostable. So at the end of the life cycle, it can be disposed with the organic waste or the food waste, the film. And then we recycle the core and the box as well, and the little metal that is there, the zipper. We can do them in the box or just on the roll. We're doing laundry bags, and then laundry bags. Initially, we were only doing the garment bags on the roll and not individually cut. And again, we went through a win-win situations, because some of the clients, they wanted laundry bags for the hotel in a home compostable material. They had them pre-cut before, and regardless of the size of your garment. So if it was the same size of a kandura, can be 1.6 meters, can be 1 meter, but you're using the same cover. So we said, why don't we make it on the roll, and then you use the sealing machine, and then you do it for the length that only you need, So another product is the drawstring bag, which we're not able to do because of technology limitations and material. And now we tested and with great success, and now definitely we already ordered the machinery, so now we outsource the production, all right, but machinery will be here end of June, beginning of July. So it's the bag with the drawstring, so that opens, so you can collect laundry with it. You can use it for some of the garbage bags that at home, that some of the some of our clients needed those type of product. That's another one. Then we also, it's good that you mentioned this bottle. So through one of our clients at Dubai Airport, we implemented 100% RPET, we call it recycled PET bottle. So this plastic is recycled plastic coming from recycled sources, certified by the global recycling standard. All right, and then we're doing juice bottles, for example. But not only that, we're not doing cold. Our full cold beverages range is made of. We can do it. We just received the goods from RPET, and this material then can go back in the stream with the plastic and be reused, same as you do with paper. We're evolving the straws, so we're using PLA or cornstarch straws now, which was industrially compostable. Now we're moving to is PHA, polyhydrovyl, another polymer which is home compostable, the same look and feel. Because we're doing already so much volumes and we have a great supply chain, we are providing it almost at the same price as the other. Which,
fantastic.
When we launched PLA straw, it was 5 times more expensive than the plastic straw, and that was the status quo. Why will I use your straw? All right. And then if I have to put in context, 2 years ago when I learned about this new material for straws at home, because we always look for a home compostable straw. A PLA straw was great, but then there's always something better, all right? Talking of advancement. It was, the polymer cost for PLA was around $3 for the raw material. This PHA straw was more than twice the price. But now, because of technology, because we know we can make them thinner and so on, we came down. And we just received the first batch of PLA straws, and then we will share that with everybody when we are ready to. Okay, so we're bringing FSC certified bamboo cutlery. Your team is aware.
Yeah.
Again, we're evolving the coffee cups. So we had the PLA lining. So now it's called aqueous coating or water barrier coating. And then we're doing paper lids as well, so which we can use 30% recycled paper in them. They are FSC certified, but we can also recycle them at the end.
So Josh has got lots of new products coming through to him.
Definitely, yes. So,
and we were talking earlier about you're now starting to produce items in your warehouse, in your showroom here. Are you producing 5%, 10% of your total now, and do you plan to produce a lot more locally in the future?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. So the reason why we choose Dubai Science Park as a location for us to have our little hub and production and education venue was that we have around 11 schools in that area. So and we're doing lots of education in the background. So I think. So yes, we localize production. All the bags, we manufacture them in UAE, except for the drawstring bags, the first order which we receive. But it's only about 1 million bags, so that's about 2%, 3% of our bags.
Okay.
But we're doing garbage bags, we're doing full bags range, all the bags range. And then we are coming close to volumes on a couple of other categories, straws, for example. When it makes sense to localize production, coffee cups or any one of the other items can be a category. I can see now with the Red Sea and the NEOM in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh. Riyadh itself is like UAE together. Riyadh is 9 million citizens, and then hospitality, room inventory as well. They're coming. I mean, they are under 100,000 now in Saudi Arabia overall, whereas we have 150,000 here rooms. But the pipeline is huge. And then, like yourselves, we're supplying so many other hospitality companies, which they have entities now in Saudi and in the region, but also in Europe. So we did in Africa and so on. And as I mentioned earlier, we cut the production cycle. I mean, we're doing bags if it's a repeat order, we're doing bags in 10 days.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's so much less carbon footprint. And, so
that's the way forward. So obviously, is Science Park going to be big enough for your future empire to be able to produce so much in-house, if you like? Yeah,
well, look, we're nearly reaching at capacity now, all right? So for in terms of production, we also obsolete a couple of the initial equipment which we had for we advanced, so for lesser wastage, for newer technology which consumes less power. So we don't do anything petrol related, so we're using only electricity for our production. but we find a good supply chain. For example, for the inks, we use water soluble inks and water based inks or soy based inks. For example, we're trying different types of solvent as well, because that was another petrochemical we try to absolve from the operation. So with some mixed results, but we are on the right path. But yes, we're gonna soon. The Dubai Science Park has started building new warehouses, so most probably we're gonna take larger capacity. So we're working with them to see that we make it how you say as sustainable as possible from the beginning, and we have a saying into the layout. Electricity, grey water, I have in mind. There is so many other.
Good.
But so that is watch the space.
Exciting times.
Exciting times. Correct. So yeah, like you ask us what are the plans for the future. Is the same. Perhaps you can share with us, because this is going to be viewed by quite a lot of other people from the industry and so on. What are some of the best initiatives and practice you put in place in sustainability at Media One Hotel?
Yeah, I mean, we discussed earlier about the journey, sort of taking. The journey resumed in the summer of 2021. One of the first things we wanted to do was remove the single-use plastic bottles in the hotel room. So we now have a water bottling plant on the 14th floor. We have large housekeeping pantries, way too big. And our housekeeping manager won't want me to say that, but we've managed to put in a water bottling plant in there, and we produce our own bottled water. We've made some very nice glass bottles. So nice that they get acquired by guests, so the turnover's quite high. But we are producing 800, 1,000 bottles of water, litre bottles of water a day, and we're significant reduction. Obviously, there's no single-use plastic now anywhere at Media One. We move on. We have a Green Finger initiative in terms of trying to bring the guests on board to our sustainability journey. So if they opt out of having their rooms cleaned, then we give them a green finger. The green finger has a value of 25 dirhams, and they can go down to any of our venues and redeem that in food or drink or whatever they want to do. And then from a towel perspective, our Rubber Dub Dub campaign is to sort of say, well, listen, unless you put your towels in the bathtub, we won't change them. If you put them in the bathtub, we'll change them. If you hang them up, you keep them there. And again, it's trying to educate the guests to join us on that journey. Other fun ones, HSBC One Plate initiative with using with the principal ingredients of the dish coming from sustainable products. So in each of our venues, we've got a sustainable dish, and it's using, the peelings of carrots and potatoes, and how can we rejig and reuse those rather than throw them away, and create a sustainable dish on the menu. So listen, it's not the top seller, but it's a fun dish to have, and it gets our chefs thinking about sustainability in the kitchen, and how do we produce, how do we use our food to the maximum. We've just started serving in QWERTY, funnily enough. We have a recycled bread and butter pudding. Oh, wow. And basically, it's the pastries, it's the croissants that we use at breakfast, and inevitably there's some wastage. And in order not to throw them away, we turn them into bread and butter pudding.
Best food in the world.
It's very good. It's not good for this, but it's very tasty and it's very sustainable. So there's a few initiatives.
Your room keys, you're doing something.
Yes. We've now got it all through our through the smartphone. So guests can arrive, they can download the Media One app. We then use the smartphone to access the elevators to the room floors from a security perspective. They can then access their rooms. They can use that as a remote control. The laundry, the famous sort of pieces of paper that used to fill out for the laundry, now is done through a QR code on the phone. So there's no mistakes, no misreading people's handwriting, but also from a sustainability perspective, that's helping us. One of the things that we're very nearly there. We need to upgrade our GRMS to be censored so that the AC and the electricity and the light can be activated by body movement and sensors. So we still need, unfortunately, one room key card to put in the slots to activate those elements. But that's on the cards, and we hope to complete that and change the GRMS, upgrade it for this year. So that's something online for this year. Electric charging, we mentioned about the office tower tenants, 600 to 800 people coming to work. We started off with one charging station, EV charging station in the arrival area, and then one on the level P1. We've now got 6 charging stations on P1, and it's all complimentary. So we're encouraging guests. It's priority sort of parking, if you like, because it's the first level, and they can charge their electric vehicles free of charge on us. So yeah, there's lots of fun things that we're doing. The Waste Lab, another partner that we were talking about this earlier. Fantastic initiative. 2 young ladies who started the company off, I think it was probably about 2 years ago now. So we now segregate all of our waste, the food waste from preparation in the kitchen, and then the food waste from guest plates gets properly segregated and taken away. The guys from the Waste Lab take it away. They take it to one of their areas, their farms in Lane, and it decomposes into compost. And then we can get the compost back, and we could use it for our gardens. We could use it for interactions with schools. We can use it for interactions with our office tower tenants. So lots of really fun initiatives. And as I said now, sustainability, being sustainable, I guess it's very important that we do it, but it needs to be fun, and we try and get as creative as possible, and which is why working with fantastic partners like yourselves, what's coming next, Peter? Keep on testing, let's keep on trying, and we want to do it now. We want to become a more sustainable business.
And we respect that, and it's the same. It's great to see that there's more and more people on board, and people, they see the green light, because there is not only targets, and I think COP help us. We had the standard COP, and so we've been there interacting, hearing it from the horse's mouth, what is to come. But a lot of times, the announcement is here, and then until the execution comes in place, some things get lost down the line, So, but it was great to see that as a result of COP, there's more and more people on board with the actions. I mean, the new ban on plastic bags, which is coming now, has made a big switch into quite a lot of things. And then for me, the biggest accomplishment which we have at Avani since I started the business is not the financials and so on. For me, there are 2 things. First one is the change that we made. We took off the shelves and off operation so much of the single-use plastic, and then also the second phase was the awareness, the best practice, which again, every time we had something more sustainable, we discovered something which help you reduce anything or don't use. Okay, then that is mind blowing. So for me, when I sit back and I say over the past 5 years, we took off, let's say, 30 million straws a year, would have been plastic straws, if not more. But because of us, it's half of that, okay? And then whoever implemented the bags is the same. Even the garbage bag, the steward guys, I met somebody, I will not call the client name, it's a large operation, large venue, they do 7 days a week, twice they do concerts, and they putting 2-3 plastic garbage bags, they were using it. And then they asked me for a very thick garbage bag. So I said, why do you need such a thick garbage bag? So how many kilos effectively a steward can use, can lift, is ergonomic for him, you break it. So then we all agreed that actually a smaller bag is decent, is better for the storage. And then when they replace, initially we did thicker bags, and they say, oh, let's start with the lighter bags. And then we replaced so many of those. And we had to sit in front of the stewarding team and make them aware what is the bag made of. But it's just a little accolade, because it starts from that frontline colleagues, this big change. Then we go and we talk to executives, companies that they got green loans, and they cannot go around it now. And then they have 2 years, 3 years, large hospitality organizations that they have to make the change, and we are all in it. And I'm happy that to live in a city like Dubai, when networking and then open-mindedness is the status quo, and we are so easy to adapt, and that's why business has been successful because of you find the right partners, the right mindset partners and people, and that's how and
Very
we're not
true.
in here for the short term. I mean, the first podcast we have with you, so we know each other for so long, and now as a business partners, but the ones that are upcoming are the same. So we went through COVID, we went through a few other bits and pieces, but we're still here together. So
No, that's true, and we're very fortunate now. The leadership in Dubai is driving all these processes. You mentioned COP28, COP of Action, I think it was called, and further highlights the importance of sustainability and the importance that the Dubai government is putting behind it in everything that they do, or the UAE government, and that's helping drive a lot of the initiatives forward. They're starting to mandate a lot more things now, which is fantastic, which was the right thing to do. But as I said, for me, the mindset's changed in the last 5 years, and now we want to do it. Now we want to do it. We enjoy doing it. How can we become more sustainable? So that's the big mindset change, because sometimes if you get told to do things, you don't want to do it. But now it's good, it's fun, it's enjoyable.
Well, it's as I said, it's enjoyable, even more so enjoyable for us in today's world, because I don't want to say that our job is easier, but as I gave examples earlier, it's easier to implement and to adapt. And then also, if there is more using this type of materials, then the economies of scale come into effect.
Yes.
And then we localize production, we add in-country value, we're creating jobs, and so on and so forth for the local economy. So
sustainability costing more money, that's just a mindset, really. And we talked earlier about, yes, some of the products are more expensive, but it's also about reducing consumption. So if we reduce consumption, the overall cost doesn't have to be more. When I use the example of the straws, so we went from plastic straws to obviously biodegradable straws, but then in line with a policy that says we have a no straw policy. Straws are available on request. So in actual fact, we're probably spending less than we were before. We changed our lights 2 years ago to LED lights. We calculated an ROI of approximately 2 years, and I can't remember the exact amount of money, but it was 400,000 dirhams. I think the ROI was just over a year. So we are now benefiting, and it depends on what the mindset is. If it's a short-term mindset, then yes, everything's expensive. But if you look at over a mid to longer term, then all of these costs come into place. So we're now benefiting from the fact that all of our lights at Media One are LED. Our electricity bills are going down. Satya, our chief engineer, is a lot happy because he's not changing light bulbs so often. So there's indirect cost savings on labour, because we're not spending so much time now having to change the light bulbs. So sustainability, if we get creative, and we keep it smart, we keep it simple, doesn't have to be an additional cost to the business. And I would encourage any hospitality business that's still undecided, start off, try some new products, sustainable products, coupled with a mindset that we're trying to reduce consumption whenever possible. We've talked about the coffee cups and do you really need the lid or not? And there are many other ways. So it's all about having a really open mind and taking a few chances. And yes, maybe there will be some products that are slightly more expensive, but from a bigger picture perspective, no, I don't think we haven't noticed. We've managed our costs the same way. So even better, we're now sustainable and without any significant uplift in any operational costs.
No, it's funny you say that, because now we also have a supply chain. We use third-party logistics for storage, and for the first couple of years we had a different partner, and then every time I met them, they were not the cheapest, but also but they provide a great service, but they were not doing a lot on sustainability. So when the renewal and the tender came, I mean, for me, half of the criteria was, so are you using eco-diesel, biodiesel for the trucks? Do you use electricity? Mm-hmm. Do you recycle? What do you recycle? Anything, So, and then the reason why we choose our RSA, I'm proud to say, is our logistics partner. We've been with them now for 2.5 years. is creating value, adding value. I sit in front of their sustainability committee as the expert or the sustainable guy that can share some practices with them, and then with them we also look at some potential other ideas. All right, but we both chip in together. I see how they look at reusing some of the materials that they use, how we collaborate to avoid so many trips with the truck. For example, we consolidate the orders.
Yeah, great.
And we have to go back to clients, and then your procurement colleagues will tell you, Avani will not deliver today because the order is only one box. All right. So we told them, look, why don't you, politely we said, look, we deliver in this instance because we don't want the operation to suffer. But why don't you for next week put 3 boxes, 4 boxes together? So then we fill that truck so it doesn't go empty. So you see, in these lines, and it's also helped them as well, because
it's working together as a partnership.
Yeah, so I think these are some of the things that I'm happy to share here, the podcast, and things that you cannot implement unless you have a partner.
Exactly.
Not the client, the partner.
Exactly.
And that's what we did. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned about your logistic partner and the the biofuels that they're using. So one of the other partners that we work with is a company called Neutral Fuels. And you'll remember that back in the day with the recycling of the cooking oil, goodness knows where it went. I got no idea, but somebody took it away, and it went into the black hole somewhere, and that was it. And they gave the stewarding guys a couple of $100 dirhams or whatever it was. But we now work, and we work with a company called Neutral Fuels. They are Dubai municipality certified to collect oil. And a fish, they can certify the fact that they're recycling it into biofuel, and we get a certificate that says, right, your carbon credits are because you've given us X liters of old cooking oil, and not only that, they also have a system of testing the color of the cooking oil. And are we changing the oil too soon? So again, they don't want to collect oil that's too clean, because they're partnering in with us to sort of say, no, use your oil a bit longer because we don't want to collect it until it's this shade of brown. So again, you hit the nail on the head. Partnerships, it's collaborating together and with the same sort of mindset. Great things can happen.
Amazing. I mean, last but not least, because I mentioned kids quite a few times. So you entertain schools and kids from schools from as young as 7 to university students. They constantly come to our hub, to our showroom. So we're doing little awareness sessions, and it's just for me when they're 7, 8 years old, it says how many why is that you can pass. Then you are ace, you understand? So, this is a polymer. So they are aware of biopolymers. So the biopolymers you can make from different plants, and then so we can start with that, and then we go to applications and so on. But then it's also rewarding to see when you go to school, what schools and other institutions and hotels. As I walk a lot, believe it or not, in the back of the house of hotels and large organizations. And if I have to rewind time, 7 years ago when we started Avani, or 8 years ago to now, wow, there's more cages, there's more awareness, there's more posters, there's more. And then I'm so happy. This is music to my ears to see that we all will doing our bit to make.
Well, I'm going to be a big kid if you allow me, and I'm going to come down and see your facility. If you allow young at heart people come down to see you, I'm going to bring the sustainability committee down, and we'd love to see your showroom and see your factory and where you're producing some of the bags, because that helps again to really for the message to sink in all the good things that we're doing.
We will love to have you. Our coffee is as good as in the hotel.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being with us here.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Thank you too, Mark.